There is a perception today that under Rahul Gandhi, this is a perception, it's said even by Congress supporters. You would have seen these comments. The Congress has swerved too far to the left.
The issue here, Barkha, is that the right has gone so rightward that even the centrists appear as leftists.
One perception is that Modi Shah are often called 24/7 politicians. And there's a lot of debate over whether the top leadership of the party, Rahul and Priyanka, are 24/7 politicians, and there's a sense that they're not.
Mr. Modi goes to a zoo and people are like, wow, Modi, wow. Isn't that a holiday on taxpayers' money?
How would you describe the mood in the Congress party today?
Well, if your house is going through some renovations, during the process of renovations, you can't say everything is in a mess.
You have a more troubled relationship with TV channels. What is the final thought on these boycott decisions that you sometimes take vis-a-vis channels and anchors?
I don't think the word boycott is the right word. It's civil disobedience.
Let's pick up Delhi. In Delhi, the Congress seemed delighted that Arvind Kejriwal had lost. You are on record as having said that left to the Congress, Arvind Kejriwal would not have even been part of the India Bloc.
This is a party which has no stated, unstated, spoken, unspoken ideology. You don't even know where he stands on a particular issue. So these are not parties who are serious parties who you would like to do serious business with.
So how often does the India Bloc meet now? Pawan, in June 2024, after the Lok Sabha verdict, it appeared as if the BJP and Prime Minister Modi had been somewhat contained and the Congress party was on the mend. A few months later, it looks very different because of a slew of defeats or underperformances in the assembly elections. How would you describe, before we get into the why and the what, how would you describe the mood in the Congress party today?
Well, if your house is going through some renovations, during the process of renovations, you can't say everything is in a mess. Obviously, it's in a mess because it's undergoing some renovations. So that's the kind of mood we have, when we are renovating a house.
So when you're renovating a house, the hope is obviously that you're going to get something new. Is the Congress going through tinkering or major changes?
It's a grand old party. And a mammoth party. So obviously changes can't be knee-jerk, changes can't be sudden and can't be abrupt. It takes time, and the process to people from the outside may appear a long-drawn process, but I don't think it's going to be a long-drawn process, and it won't be a tinkering.
Let's talk about what has changed from June to we're in March now. Only a few months. The Congress performance in June was seen to be an indication of a reversal of political fortunes. What has happened in one after the other assembly election, according to you, other than Jharkhand, where it seems a JMM-led win, or Jammu and Kashmir, where it seems a national conference-led win? The Congress did, badly in Maharashtra, lost Haryana, lost Delhi. How do you explain what changed from June to now? Was the June verdict misread?
The journey of a political movement or a political organization is not from one election to another. Just as it was not from one part of the freedom movement to another part of the freedom movement. It's a journey. It's an ongoing journey in which we learn, we unlearn, we do, we undo, we redo, and we try and ensure that we try and plug all the loopholes. We repair our house, as we said, we renovate our house. That's what is happening.
Do you think that the Congress party or the opposition in general misread or misinterpreted or overinterpreted the Lok Sabha verdict?
I wouldn't say that. I don't think two elections can be compared. Two results can be compared.
You're saying Lok Sabha and Assembly can't be compared?
They cannot be compared. Definitely not. I'll give you an example of Rajasthan in 2018. We won the state, but within a few months in the Lok Sabha, we lost all the seats of Lok Sabha in Rajasthan. So you can't compare a Lok Sabha with a Vidhan Sabha at all.
Even so, Haryana in particular was a big shock for the Congress. What do you think happened?
No, definitely it was a shock. And just talking about the election commission wouldn't be enough, though it's a very, very critical aspect of an election and we need to continue discussing it and continue exposing their role. But our own house was also perhaps not so much in order as much as it should have been before an election.
I mean, you had genuine party divisions. You had Kumari Selja, who did not come out to campaign for 13 days. You had a fractured party. You maybe overestimated the power of the Hooda family. I'll come to the Election Commission and the Congress's criticism of it in just a moment. But do you think that one of the problems the Congress is grappling with is this internal infighting, given what's happening with Shashi Tharoor in Kerala, DK Shivakumar in Karnataka, and harking back to what happened with Selja and Hoodas in Haryana?
No, I think it's our party is, as I said, it's an old party which has old associations, war horses, of an era which they did very well, and they have the potential to do very well even today. So it takes time for transitions in this party. We are very emotionally connected with each other. Unlike the BJP, where it's the beck and call of 1.5 people on the top, whose remote control is in Nagpur. So there are 2 remote controls operating in the BJP. So unlike them, where there is no emotional connect with each other, it's just a transactional relationship. In our case, we are emotionally connected with each other. We can't just decide, okay, tomorrow, Barkha is not doing well, out with Barkha. No, that's not the way we work.
Well, you say the remote control with the BJP lies with Nagpur, or, you might say with Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah. They would turn around and say the remote control in the Congress lies with 3 members of the Gandhi family. Well, so it's just different remote controls. I don't think now but power is centralized.
Now they cannot say that anymore.
Why? What's different now?
Well, we have had a proper election of the Congress president about 2.5 years ago. And we have Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge as our president. I think it's very, very streamlined.
There's a perception that...
Tell me, how was Nadda re-elected? Did you see the election?
Point being?
Where is the election? How does the BJP appoint, nominate its president? How is Mohan Bhagwat elected, appointed, nominated?
The BJP would argue, and again, I'm not a spokesperson for either of your parties,
sure,
but just to argue this from the other side for a moment, because that's my job.
Fair.
The BJP would argue that whoever rises to the top of the BJP can be anybody. Like Modi was the Chief Minister of Gujarat and then he became the Prime Minister of India. But in the Congress, nobody could rise to the top job to actually wielding power but the members of the
Dr.
Gandhi
Manmohan
family.
Singh was not even the Chief Minister of a state, was never an MLA, was never an MP. But his own merit, the dint of his capabilities, he became the Prime Minister for 2 terms.
There is a perception, since you mentioned Mallikarjun Kharge, there is a perception that Shashi Tharoor, and he's been in the headlines, even as we speak, was sidelined because he dared to run against Mr. Kharge for the post of party president, that he hasn't been given a significant role, that he himself has been feeling shafted. The Congress leadership had a meeting with all of the Kerala Congress to try and iron out some of these differences. I'm not saying that these differences don't exist in other parties. I'm simply saying, was Shashi Tharoor sidelined?
First of all, the meeting that you're talking about in terms of Kerala, such meetings are taking place on every election going states.
So Shashi is not upset? Shashi doesn't feel he's sidelined?
No, not at all. It's just a kind of perception created by section of the media, which is, I would say, an arm of the BJP, which helps BJP in distracting the country's collective attention from the actual issues of the country.
There was a sense that when Dr. Tharoor praised, not the Prime Minister personally, but said that India had got significant things to be happy about after the Prime Minister met with Donald Trump. Those comments and his comments or his column talking about Kerala's progress did not go down well with some sections of the Congress.
Obviously, I mean, that could be his personal opinion, because even the Prime Minister won't agree that India got anything from the meeting between the Prime Minister and Donald Trump.
You're saying Shashi Tharoor was more complimentary about that meeting
than... No, it could be. I haven't seen that comment. I haven't really analyzed that comment. It could have been in another context, perhaps. So any comment made by anyone has to be seen in a proper context. So without the context, the comment becomes very vulnerable to being twisted, being spun around, being misinterpreted. So I won't sort of delve into that.
Let me ask you differently. Did you wish, as someone who has to go and bat for the party every day in the public, on social media, with mainstream or legacy media, did you wish that Shashi Tharoor had not chosen the words he had?
I won't give it so much of importance because this is not an issue. Currently, issues which, as an opposition, we are very worried about would be the stock market, would be rising crime against women, against Dalits, would be unemployment, would be several such issues. I think we need to be focused on how the rupee is sliding by the minute.
So let's zoom out then and look at some of these big issues. Rahul Gandhi has clearly positioned himself as an ideological opponent to the BJP. He has not, for instance, played a kind of tactical battle that an Arvind Kejriwal may have played. He's very clearly gone on the front foot and said, we ideologically oppose the BJP, and he's picked up a few pet issues. Let's pick up one issue on which there's a perception that the opposition chief ministers, the opposition bloc doesn't agree on. Gautam Adani. I ask you this in particular because you've been part of these very snazzily made videos that have been put out there on social media, picking up this issue again and again. Some might argue that the recent results of the assembly elections show that this is an issue on which A, the Janta doesn't have a strong opinion, because otherwise, presumably, the results would have been different. B, the other opposition colleagues don't have the same view. C, even Congress chief ministers like a Revanth Reddy don't have the same
I
view.
take you back to the freedom struggle. I'm sorry, I'll have to take you back to
Why
the
do
freedom
you
struggle.
quote the freedom struggle? We are an independent India.
Because that's where the Congress has something to show. From our yesterday, we learn about tomorrow also. So, untouchability was not an issue during those days, which people were very gung-ho about. I don't think it was a popular issue. Yet, Congress took it up. And you could say that the other parties or organizations during the freedom struggle were not in favor of untouchability being taken up as an issue. But yet, Congress had the moral courage and the power to do it. And I think the same moral courage makes Mr. Rahul Gandhi, choose issues which may not come across as electorally very popular issues, yet they are important for the country.
Does he not need to carry his own party, his own colleagues, and his own opposition colleagues
All of us
along?
are with him. All of us are
when
with him.
Revanth Reddy
welcomes
the Adani group with open arms?
It's the same Mr. Revanth Reddy who also sat on a dharna against Adani.
So how do we explain this paradox?
Look, investments coming in.
Sharad Pawar
he's not in our party. So we're talking
that's
about
why I
our
said
party.
opposition
So first let's focus on Congress and then I'll come to the alliance
or
also.
Ashok Gehlot prior to
when did Mr. Gehlot or Mr. Revanth Reddy give anything out of turn to Mr. Adani or to anyone? What is our objection? Our objection is monopolization of the economy. Our objection is against crony capitalism. Tell me one example over the last 10 years where a Congress-ruled state has done what the center does, what BJP government does for Mr. Adani.
So you're saying when the BJP gives projects to Mr. Adani, it is monopolization. When the Congress does it, it's fair.
Barkha, we are not opposed to Mr. Adani or Mr. X or Mr. Y. We are opposed to monopolization. We are opposed to giving away the core sectors to one gentleman, one individual.
Let me ask my question somewhat differently.
Please do.
If you know this, you're now a veteran of politics. If you want to change policy, if you want to change the system, you have to first win elections. You have to get power back election by election, right? You have to adapt tactics and strategy according to what's happening in the elections. Now, my question is the Congress trapped in battles that don't have electoral resonance?
So I go back
that
to,
is my question.
I understand your question. Did Mahatma Gandhi wait कि चलो भाई आजादी मिल जाएगी फिर untouchability से लड़ लेंगे? नहीं, he didn't. Let's first get independence, then we'll talk about salt, then we'll talk about indigo. No, he did not.
But Mahatma Gandhi was able to mobilize the public imagination, right? Gandhiji's great gift was his ability to influence people, to mobilize people. The problem right now is that the issues you're raising, they are not getting that public resonance, the public support that you would need for this analogy to hold.
Barkha, when we talk about Mahatma Gandhi and his ability to mobilize support, I think we are talking about, it's not a 3-hour movie. It's not a 220 pages ka book. It's an entire life that he lived various milestones, various disappointments, various struggles. I think that's the way you look at a life. And when you compare Rahul Gandhi's journey to that of a 3-hour movie of Mahatma Gandhi, I'm sorry, that's not the way to compare.
No, but why are we comparing Rahul Gandhi with Mahatma Gandhi?
No, because you spoke about an ideological battle that he's taken up, the issues that he's picking up, which may not, on the face of it, have any electoral value, yet he's going on and on about it. So I think that's what you're comparing. And that's where I brought in the untouchability example, the salt example, the indigo example.
Is there an ideological confusion within the Congress on how to communicate on issues of religious identity? And I ask this because D.K. Shivakumar, another big Congress leader in Karnataka, was at a stage with Sadhguru, Jaggi Vasudev, and Amit Shah was at the same function. There were Karnataka Congress leaders who felt there was a problem. Every time there comes to a kind of aspect of religious identity and what its place should be in the public domain, there seems to be a certain defensiveness.
I don't think there is any defensiveness. The Congress ideology, if I may say so, is the ideology of the country. Did you go for the Kumbh?
I did not.
I did not. Does it make us any less...
but I respect people who went.
We respect people
people, and I know many people who went and loved it.
Same in the party. There are several of my colleagues who went for the Kumbh. Absolute respect for
and
them.
Honestly, at another time, I would love to go.
Yeah, fair enough. Why not?
Yes.
So I don't think that becomes any issue, any bone of contention, any issue to be debated. Where is the conflict here? Mr. D.K. Shivakumar has his faith in a particular individual or a sect, and he's free to go there. What's the problem?
So why was it an issue?
And likewise, as it happens in our society, there are some people in the party who may have felt differently. Fair enough. There is space for every view. There is space for every stream of thought. That's the beauty of India. That's the beauty of Congress party.
So when the Congress doesn't speak in one voice on these issues...
Does the country speak in one voice? Should the country speak in one voice? Does your family speak in one voice, and should they?
So you're going back to the idea of the Congress as a big tent party.
It is. It is. Our civilization has never spoken in one voice, and I'm so happy it hasn't. That's the beauty of our civilization.
So I accept historically the Congress has been a big tent party. But there is a perception today that under Rahul Gandhi, this is a perception, it's said even by Congress supporters. You would have seen these comments. The Congress has swerved too far to the left. The Congress has become a lefty party. It's lost connect with the mainstream of India.
The issue here, Barkha, is that the right has gone so rightward that even the centrists appear as leftists. No, that's the issue. So before analyzing whether the centrist party called the Congress has gone towards the left, please analyze where does the right of today stand as compared to where the right stood during Atalji's time. Today in the morning I was going through the social media feed and I saw Sushma Swaraj talking about in the parliament defending Urdu. Can you think of a BJP leader defending Urdu today?
I mean, Prime Minister Modi attended the Jahan-e-Khusro
That's
Sufi
fine,
festival.
but look at Atalji. In the morning I heard one of the tweets. Atalji is telling Javed Akhtar that India is secular despite RSS and BJP. So the right has gone so rightward that you think that the centrists have become leftists. No, we haven't. We are where we were.
You don't think that under Rahul Gandhi there is a greater lurch to the left?
I don't think so. If there is greater injustice in the society and we say no, let there be nyay, we are not leftists.
There's a sense that there's an anti-big capital, anti-big business.
Anti-crony capitalism, anti-monopolization. I think that has been the policy of the Congress all along.
But which government have we seen? Let's be candid here. Look all over the world, from New York to New Delhi. Business sucks up or wants to be close to whoever's in power. I don't think this is peculiar or unique to the BJP. I don't think it's peculiar or unique to the Congress. Look what's happening with the tycoons who showed up for Trump's inauguration, right? As long as business is dependent on government policies, business will want to be on the right side of government. You don't get to see crony capitalism just because you're in opposition. It's not very different when Congress was in government.
Even in the pre-reform days,
yes,
we were not seen as a country just favoring one corporate. The charge of monopolization has come had stuck to this government because you talk about the ports, you talk about the airports, you talk about coal, you talk about power, you talk about defense, everything going in one direction. So that's not good for the health of the economy of this country. That's not, tomorrow if that individual were to collapse, touch wood, what will happen to our economy? Think of all the crores and crores of people who buy LIC policies. In the last 1 month, how much has LIC eroded? So these are our concerns.
So let me ask you this. If you are so convinced of the path that the Congress is on, why has the Congress lost the last set of assembly elections? All of them.
No, again, as I said, you cannot measure a movement's journey from one election to another. If you were to do that over the last 75 years, Congress has been in power for 54 years and 7 months and few days.
But
14
Pawan,
days.
the Congress is not part of a civil society movement for change.
Not,
the Congress is in
not.
politics. The Congress
Absolutely.
is not an NGO.
That's why I'm saying if you want to compare the electoral journey, even there we have scored much better than the right. So don't worry about our electoral journey.
I'm not worried. I'm only trying to understand.
Right
according
now,
to you,
I'll tell you what. The other side has become more forceful in their lies about history, about the kind of path to recovery for the economy, economic policies, social policy, everything. They have become more forceful. They have access to resources, which makes them more visible, more audible, loud. And the struggle for the Congress party is that, well, we may not come across as very loud. We may not come across as very forceful. Perhaps that's the only place where we cannot match our rival. And we are trying to do that.
The Congress actually, I would say, has a pretty snazzy social media campaign, a pretty snazzy digital media campaign. You have a more troubled relationship with TV channels. What is the final thought on these boycott decisions that you sometimes take vis-a-vis channels and anchors?
I don't think the word boycott is the right word. It's civil disobedience, I would call it. We don't want, the party doesn't want to be involved in any campaign which polarizes this country. We cannot be a part of that. We cannot be a part of spreading poison in the society. So I would say this is civil disobedience and not boycott.
But explain what's the thought in these. You see, it's not about, whether one relates to television news today. Having been a practitioner of television news, I don't relate to television news today. But I'm also not convinced about the efficacy of boycotts, and I'll tell you why. You want to boycott somebody, boycott the promoters, boycott the people who own the channels.
How do you boycott the promoters?
The people who make the policy are not individual
I know,
anchors.
but how do you boycott a promoter? For example, X channel.
Yes.
How do you boycott?
But you selectively boycott this anchor, but we'll go to this anchor show on the same channel.
Well,
that channel has that policy because the promoter has allowed it or defined it.
Fair enough.
Or even given it as a dictate.
Promoters normally do this, that they keep both sides happy. So they will have a extremely right-leaning anchor and so-called centrist anchor or so-called, there's no leftist anchor anymore, but the centrist anchors. So,
there are enough leftist anchors in the digital space.
Yeah, there are. I'm talking about, we are just focused on legacy. Media.
Yes.
So, the only way to send your message loud and clear to the promoter, to the government, to the society, to the viewer is, here is our take on this particular stream of thought. This is not good for the country. Therefore, we are not part of that.
But every time you've tried to apply this boycott, you've had one or the other individual Congress leader who broke it.
That's that I won't take it very seriously.
Why not? Then how is it a serious boycott?
Happens because it's such a large party. Sometimes people do forget a long list of people who we are not participating in their shows. So it happens. I won't.
But I'm again going to ask you that instead of penalizing the anchor, why are you not raising this with the promoter?
We do.
Or why do you
not everything is done with the spotlight on, but yes, of course, we keep engaging with the promoters. We keep talking to the topmost leadership of these organizations that why are you doing this?
So what have these media boycotts brought you?
Satisfaction that we are not party to this poison.
But then you review the list every
We do review the list. Internally, there are people who say, let's fight them. Let's use their platform to fight them. Fair enough. A lot of respect for such individuals within the party also. I also feel that, yes, let's use the platform and fight them. Sometimes one gets frustrated. What kind of a fight is this? This is not even the issue, not even an issue worth fighting for. I mean, whether or not somebody has gone to the Kumbh, why should I fight on that? I'm not.
But yet,
my respect for Mohan Bhagwat would not be any more if he were to go for the Kumbh Snan, which he hasn't. Not that I respect him at all, but I'm just saying that how does it matter?
But then yet you felt compelled to come out and say Shama Mohammed should not have called Rohit Sharma fat.
As a national spokesperson of a party, what you say, you have to be very responsible in your comments, is all. You can't body shame anyone. As an individual, you're free to do what you want. As a national spokesperson of a political party, body shaming, perhaps her choice of words could have been better. If she was just talking about fitness, fair enough. She has a right to say that people should be fit. All of us should be fit. But she's also the national spokesperson of the party. And she understood that. She retracted her tweets.
No, I was just saying it in the context of what's an issue and what's not an issue. I mean, I think
we are very clear about that. So you have a role as a national spokesperson. Be more responsible in the choice of your words.
So when it comes to your relationship with the media, how would you describe the Congress party's relationship? Because there was a time when it was perceived that Prime Minister Modi had an adversarial relationship with certain sections of the media that he thought had been unfair to him. Would you not say that the Congress's top leadership, the Gandhi family, also has an adversarial relationship or a relationship of silence or non-communication with those that they think have been unfair to them?
I don't think any one of us would consider any section of the media as adversary. No, nobody is an adversary in a democracy. Yet, in a democracy, as the leading opposition party of the country and also as a party which has been in power for the longest period of time, I think we also have a responsibility towards the society, whether we are in power today or not. And that responsibility triggers certain reactions towards a section of the media.
You are somebody, I've known you for years professionally. You've known probably every journalist who's a practitioner today. Are you personally comfortable with boycotts?
As I said, I don't call it a boycott. Well, I'm very comfortable with civil disobedience, certain anchors, definitely.
Let's come back to why you think, as a senior Congress leader, the party has underperformed or not done well in the last set of assembly elections. Okay, Lok Sabha can't be compared to assembly, right? Maharashtra, you thought you'd do better. Haryana, you thought you'd do better. In Jammu and Kashmir, Omar Abdullah went on record to say that the Congress isn't campaigning enough. It needs to have, more presence on the ground. Delhi, chalo. Nobody expected the Congress to do much better than it has. Jharkhand, you rode on the sort of tailwinds of the JMM, right? So the point is, how do you explain this? Is it organizational weakness? Is it lack of local leadership?
This year, Barkha, when we went to Belagavi, this year is the year for organizational restructuring, rejuvenation. And I think that's what, and next month we go to Ahmedabad. Every week there is a review happening of different layers of the organization. So I think you are right in a way that organizational rejuvenation is something which the Congress really needs. As I said, it's the renovation of the house going on. During renovation, of course, the drawing room won't look very good. Of course, the kitchen won't look very good. But let's not form a judgment of the drawing room and the kitchen during the process of the renovation.
But you keep using phrases like civil disobedience, your analogies with the independence movement, ideological positions. If one were to listen to you, it seems more a philosophical response to some of the issues of the time than a political response. And why I raise this is because there is space for both. And I think somebody, I forget who, somebody said that, Rahul Gandhi, Yogendra Yadav Rahul Gandhi is not Yogendra Yadav. In the argument being that there is a space for an academic analysis, political punditry, civil disobedience, street marches, but politics has to be about winning elections fair and square.
Political response of an individual or an organization must flow out of a theoretical clarity. A concept has to be very clear. The philosophy has to be very clear. In the absence of that theoretical...
Do you really believe that?
I absolutely believe that.
Do you not think the Congress itself...
Otherwise, it's strategy. It's not strategy, it's tactics.
Okay, fair enough. But do you not think the Congress has had to flirt with where to land on that ideological framework?
No, not at all. We are absolutely clear about it.
So what is it?
But for every generation, Barkha, we as a party must re-articulate our position, our philosophy, our ideology for the contemporary generation of voters and workers alike. And that's what is happening right now. And that's very important.
But Pawan, when the
BJP is very clear about its philosophy.
But when the Congress goes and allies with the Shiv Sena UBT, an early party of Hindutva, you have fundamental disagreements with them, for example, on Veer Savarkar. This is Bal Thakere's party, Bal Thakere's family. Where is the ideological commonality
Barkha,
there?
for that, you will have to delve very deep into what is centrism. Centrism is not anti-right or anti-left. Centrism is a marriage of both. And when you marry both, they become centrist. You see what I mean?
I see what you're saying, but the Congress today would be seen by its, I won't say detractors, I would say by a lot of people. If you asked, is the Congress a left party or a right party? Of course, some of these labels are so irrelevant in India. They're irrelevant in India because economically, actually, I think all parties are kind of left of center. But you'd be called a lefty party. You would not be called a centrist party. When you oppose the BJP's Hindutva politics, people will point you to your alliance with the Shiv Sena.
Again, I come back to what I said in the 15 minutes ago. Only those people will call us lefty party. Those who haven't understood the distance the right has covered towards the right. They've become so rightward that we come across as leftists.
If there's one thing you wanted your party to do better at or be better at, what would that be?
I don't think I find my party lagging in anything else other than blowing our own trumpet. And Modi does it very well.
You're saying you're not good salespeople?
We are not good salespeople, and that's where my job becomes very important. I feel that I need to do better in terms of marketing what our party's legacy is and what our party's contribution towards nation building is. Their lies spread faster than my truth.
And why is that?
Perhaps we are so secure in our truth and they are so insecure about their lies that they work harder. They walk an extra mile to spread their lies.
One perception is that Modi, Shah are often called 24/7 politicians. And there's a lot of debate over whether the top leadership of the party, Rahul and Priyanka, are 24/7 politicians. And there's a sense that they're not. Rahul Gandhi's, holidays or breaks that he takes sometimes have been criticized. His choosing to be outside India for, let's say, conferences has been criticized. That the timing is not well chosen.
Tell me, Modi Shah being 24/7 politician, the result is being seen by everybody and felt by everybody. Whether you pay extra money for your petrol, Modi Shah are 24/7 politicians. Whether you pay more for your gas cylinder, they are 24. What has it done for the country? So why do you measure a politician's popularity, success, or capacity? How many numbers of hours he puts or she puts in his her career? Mr. Modi goes to a zoo and people are like, wow, Modi, wow. Isn't that a holiday on taxpayers' money? What is that? So why do we, these comparisons, I don't find them intelligent enough.
I think the larger question is this. When the chips are down, for anybody in any profession, when the chips are down, you just have to work harder than the guy who's doing better than you.
Harder.
You have to work harder than the guy who's doing better than you.
He walked 4,000 kilometers.
Agreed. And so many people who criticized Rahul Gandhi gave him credit for that.
Fair enough.
Right?
Fair enough.
So I take that point.
So, but the thing is, you don't get to know how hard we are working because the spotlight is on the guy who's in power. Fair enough. And it's the way it is.
So my question is this. There was a sense that the Bharat Jodo Yatra was one of the illustrations of Rahul Gandhi working hard. I agree with you. But that the building on that did not take place. So for example, let's pick up the India Bloc, right? Let's pick up the India Bloc. There are other regional leaders who say that the Congress did not, the Congress probably thought it would do better in the assembly elections than it did. And therefore, India Bloc meetings were not held, that the India Bloc has become as good as redundant. Do you think the India Bloc still exists as an entity?
India Bloc is and was and shall be a bloc to deal with national issues, a bloc for national elections, And it's the way it is. Where is the dichotomy? Where is the
when you
confusion?
hear the Trinamool Congress party leaders standing up and saying Mamata Banerjee should lead the India Bloc.
I mean, they have a right to promote their leader.
But where is the India Bloc?
Well,
Does the India...
As I said, it's at the national level, the India Bloc deals with national issues.
So can you
For
elaborate?
example, last month, Mr. Gandhi, Supriya Suleji and Sanjay Rautji held a press conference at the Constitution Club to deal with the Election Commission of India. So that's a national issue in which regional parties and Congress party came together.
So how often does the India Bloc meet now?
On issues, we are in touch with each other. You don't have to always have a meeting in this day and age when you just can pick up the phone and sort of...
So it is, if I'm understanding this correctly, in the Lok Sabha, it had an electoral role. Right now, it is more about brainstorming?
It's brainstorming. It's coming together on certain issues like the electoral roles, a major issue. The role of Election Commission is an issue. And then tomorrow, in future, whatever national issue comes, of course, we are together.
Let's pick up Delhi. In Delhi, the Congress seemed delighted that Arvind Kejriwal had lost. Were you delighted?
Barkha, we were fighting to win, to do better, to improve our performance. So I don't think I'll be happy. We had two players who we were fighting against. One of them lost.
You are on record as having said that left to the Congress, Arvind Kejriwal would not have even been part of the India Bloc.
Yeah.
Can you explain that statement?
Because, look, where is the ideology? This is a party which has no stated, unstated, spoken, unspoken ideology. You don't even know where he stands on a particular issue. So these are not parties who are serious parties who you would like to do serious business with.
And yet, when he was in jail, when his wife was the face of the party, Sonia Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi shared a stage with her to question why he was in jail.
Absolutely, because that was an example of the high-handedness of the BJP. Selectively, you jail your opponents.
But the Congress unveiled the liquor scandal.
Fair enough. Investigate.
How do both
He's the
these
chief
things
minister.
coexist?
He or Hemant Soren were chief ministers. They were not running away from the investigation. Did they run away from investigations? Why do you have to arrest them? Why arrest? And why give a clean chit to Praful Patel, to Ajit Pawar, just because they've been through your washing machine? Why?
Who is Arvind Kejriwal to the Congress party today? Is he still
He's a political activist.
Is he a member of the India Bloc?
And national issues, yes.
So you would coordinate with him on national issues and oppose him locally?
If need be, the bloc will decide who to interact with and who not.
But you're saying as a Congress leader, the Congress would have preferred for him not to be included in the India Bloc.
That's my opinion, yes.
So with this kind of confusion...
There's no confusion. Where is the confusion? When you form a bloc and the other members feel that, well, this should also be a part of the bloc, fair enough. Where's the confusion?
Is Arvind Kejriwal a bigger opponent to the Congress than the BJP?
No,
in Punjab and Delhi?
We are fighting an ideological battle against the BJP. You are talking about a person or a party who has no ideology. So how can he be an opponent?
Now, there are those who support the Congress, who have spoken of Rahul Gandhi as a kind of ideological mentor to the party, suggesting that the real politic has to be done by somebody else. Is there that kind of sense? What do you see as Rahul Gandhi's role in the Congress party?
Well, he's not just an ideological mentor to all of us, but he's also
who takes
an
the
MP
decisions?
for the
Is
last
it Mr. Kharge?
25 years.
The question is, who
Decision
takes
making
decisions?
in any organization as large as Congress party is a collective process. It's not just one individual's decision. It's always been like this.
But who has the veto? Is it the Gandhi?
You don't need a veto when you are a family, when you are just sitting together and you have an emotional connect with each other. You understand the context of every comment made by everyone. So you don't need a veto. Do you need a veto in your family? Do I need a veto in my family? No.
You have repeatedly brought up electoral rolls, questioned the EC. You spoke about the press conference of Rahul Gandhi, Supriya Sule and Sanjay Raut. Now, it seems as if the opposition has changed tack. Earlier you used to question EVMs. Now you're questioning electoral rolls. The EC has given its reply as well. You have also met, delegations of opposition parties have met with the Election Commission, and they have given their own counter, arguing that these roles are robust. The BJP says that the Congress is sore losers. When they win, they don't question the EVMs, they don't question the rolls. When they lose is the only time that they do. How do you build an
We have
argument
been talking about
on these electoral rules?
the need for transparency in the process of elections, and that responsibility rests with the Election Commission of India. We've been talking about it forever. So to accuse us of being selective in our outrage is absolutely wrong. We are not talking about machine. We are talking about the machinery of elections. Mr. Gandhi has been talking about when he went and attended that meeting with PM and HM on the appointment of the Chief Election Commissioner. Again, the dissent note was very clear that the CJI needs to be there in the committee.
But the CJI wasn't there previously all these years. It was only after a Supreme Court intervention.
The change came only later. So once the change has come, once the Supreme Court has intervened, where is the need to go to the parliament, change the law and do away with the CJI? Why?
No, I'm just saying all these years, including when the Congress was in power,
but
the CJI was not in that committee. Yes.
If a reform has come, even if it has come through the court, respect that reform.
Okay. So what is the argument that you're building on the electoral machinery?
The election, I mean, you just seen last week the expose on the unique identity number of a voter.
The epic
number. I mean, it's outrageous. In any other country, there would have been a storm.
But the EC counter to that you heard,
counter?
right?
What
The
is the
counter was that even if those numbers are duplicate,
how can
one person can only vote once because of all of the other
We have given
balances.
examples from a constituency called Kamptee in Maharashtra. We've given examples from a constituency called Shirdi in Maharashtra, where in one building there were 7,000 votes. And all of them from Madhya Pradesh, particular district of Madhya Pradesh. We've given examples from Maharashtra, several examples, 30 assembly segments. Where is the response of the EC? No, we haven't got a response. Why can't the EC give us the electoral voters list? Is all that I'm asking. Why aren't we getting that? That's our right.
But when the Congress or other parties do well in elections, right? Other opposition parties, same machinery, win elections. How do you explain that then? If the electoral machinery is not as transparent as it should be, and I can appreciate the call for greater transparency, greater reform, point taken. But then how does
over the last
win elections?
Post Lok Sabha, we've seen a definite shift in the functioning of the Election Commission. Post Lok Sabha.
Explain that.
Like this, like you are not giving us the electors list, voters list. Why? Your 5 o'clock, between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. on voting day, 12% rise in voters in Maharashtra. How is it even humanly possible that there are 98,000 booths in Maharashtra and in 1 hour, 1 crore people voted? How? Tell me.
And the answer you get from the EC?
You don't get an answer.
What do you mean?
Where is the CCTV footage? They say, no, we won't. They've changed the law. We will not provide you with CCTV footage. Why? What are you hiding?
You opened this conversation by saying that you want greater transparency in the electoral process, but you also feel that there are things in your own house that you have to renovate, fix. Let me ask you in the end, what would a renovated Congress look like?
They would look like what the Congress looked like a few years ago, where all our blocks were functioning, all our booths were functioning, all our BLAs are in place. So we would look like what we used to be. And over the last 10 years, perhaps we haven't focused enough, and we are now focusing on it.
What is the one thing, Pawan Khera, that politics has taught you? You know, you've also gone through many avatars. You work closely with Sheila Dikshit. Now you're a key face of the party, not just a leader of the party. What own assumption of yours have you found upended by experience?
Patience. I think what is needed in politics, especially when you're in the opposition, is a lot of patience, immense patience. You evolve as a better human being when you're in the opposition.
Pawan Khera, thank you so much for talking.
Pleasure.
To us. Thank you.
Thanks.